Hey everyone. I'm Sarah Thompson. I'm 28, juggling med school and waitressing at Joe's Diner to pay the bills. Then one day, this tall, handsome guy walks in, James Anderson, 30, a software engineer. He sits in my section, and I swear, the air changes. What can I get you? I ask, trying to sound professional. Coffee, black, and your number, if you're not too busy, he replies with a grin. I laugh it off. Sorry, I don't get customers, company policy. But James wasn't backing down. He came in every day for 2 weeks straight, and finally I caved. Fine, one date. But don't get your hopes up, Mr. Software. That one date turned into 6 months of pure bliss. James was different, kind, understanding, and didn't care that I was just a waitress. But I still had my doubts. James, are you sure about this? I mean, look at you and look at me, I asked one night. He took my hand and said, Sarah, you're the most incredible woman I've ever met. Your job doesn't define you. Before I knew it, we were on a moonlit beach, and James was down on one knee. Sarah Thompson, will you marry me? My heart stopped. Yes, 1,000 times yes. But then the bubble burst when I met his parents. Their mansion was intimidating, to say the least, and Robert and Elizabeth Anderson made it clear they didn't approve. So Sarah, James tells us you're a waitress, Elizabeth said, her voice dripping with condescension. I straightened my back. Yes, I work at a diner to support myself through med school. Robert scoffed. Med school? Please, we know your type. You're just after our son's money. James stood up, furious. That's enough. Sarah is brilliant and hardworking. I love her, and we're getting married. Robert's face turned red. If you marry this waitress, you're cut off. No inheritance, no support, nothing. I felt sick. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. But then James took my hand, looked his father in the eye, and said, then I guess I'm cut off, because I'm marrying Sarah, with or without your blessing. As we left, I couldn't believe what had just happened. James, are you sure about this? It's your family. He kissed me softly. You're my family now, Sarah. We'll figure this out together. Walking away from that mansion, I knew things were about to get a whole lot more complicated. But with James by my side, I felt ready to take on the world, his stuck-up parents included. The months after our engagement were a whirlwind of stress and excitement. We were planning a wedding, pinching pennies wherever we could. Just when things seemed impossible, James's sister, Emma, reached out. We met in a quiet cafe, away from prying eyes. I can't openly support you guys, she whispered, sliding an envelope across the table. What I want to help. Inside was a check that made my eyes widen. Emma, we can't. You can, and you will. It's my money, and I believe in you too. Meanwhile, the Andersons were doing everything they could to ruin us. Rumors spread like wildfire. I was a gold digger, a liar, even a criminal. It got so bad that Joe, my boss at the diner, called me into his office one day. Sarah, I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. The Andersons are threatening to pull their business investments if I keep you on. I was devastated. That job had been my lifeline through med school. James was livid when I told him. They can't do this. It's not right. But it wasn't just his parents. At James's bachelor party, his childhood friend Michael showed his true colors. Dude, you're making a huge mistake, Michael slurred. That waitress is just using you. Through it all, my best friend Lisa was my rock. She helped with decorations, taste-tested cakes, and kept me sane. Girl, you're going to be the most beautiful bride ever, she said during our final dress fitting. Some of James's work buddies stepped up too. They pulled together for a honeymoon fund, insisting we needed a proper getaway. Finally, our wedding day arrived. The small church was decorated simply but beautifully. As I walked down the aisle, my heart swelled. There was James waiting for me. But I couldn't help noticing the empty seats where James's family should have been. During our vows, his voice cracked slightly. Sarah, you are my family now. No matter what life throws at us, we'll face it together. I squeezed his hands, fighting back tears. James, you've shown me what true love and loyalty mean. I promise to stand by you always. As we shared our first kiss as husband and wife, the small crowd erupted in cheers, but I saw the flicker of pain in James's eyes as he glanced at the empty front row. Later during our first dance, I whispered, "Are you okay?" He pulled me closer. "I have you. That's all I need." But I knew the absence of his family was a wound that wouldn't heal easily. As we swayed to the music, I silently vowed to make sure James never regretted choosing me, no matter what it took. The reception kicked off, and I played my part perfectly, the humble waitress bride, grateful for every small gesture. I could practically feel the pitying looks from some of James's colleagues who'd shown up despite the drama. Such a lovely, simple wedding, one woman commented, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. I nodded and thanked her, biting my tongue. James sensed my discomfort and squeezed my hand. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the entrance. In walked Dr. Harry Chen, the dean of my medical school, and Dr. Marcus Foster, chief of surgery at Central Hospital. My heart raced. This was it. "Sorry, honey," I said to James. "I need to freshen up. Be right back." I ducked into a side room where Lisa was waiting, holding my white coat. My hands shook slightly as I put it on. "You've got this, Dr. Thompson," Lisa winked. Taking a deep breath, I walked back into the reception. The room fell silent as I made my way to the microphone. "I want to thank you all for coming today," I began, "but there's something I need to share." I turned to James, whose eyes were wide with confusion. "James, I haven't been entirely honest with you. I'm not just a waitress." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "Allow me to introduce Dr. Sarah Thompson, top of her class and recipient of our prestigious neurosurgery fellowship." Dr. Foster chimed in, "and the youngest recipient of the Breakthrough Research Grant in the hospital's history." The room erupted in gasps and whispers. James stood there, mouth agape. "I've been working double shifts and studying in secret," I explained. "I wanted to surprise you, to show you and everyone else that I'm more than they assumed." James rushed over, lifting me off my feet in a bear hug. "You amazing, brilliant woman," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm so proud of you." As we embraced, Emma stood up, clinking her glass for attention. "I've known about Sarah's accomplishments for months," she announced, "and I'm ashamed of how our family has treated her. Sarah is brilliant, kind, and exactly the person James deserves." Just then, Michael stumbled forward, clearly having had too much champagne. "James, man, I'm sorry. I was wrong about Sarah. Can we?" James cut him off coldly. "Save it, Michael. You showed your true colors. We're done." I placed a hand on James's arm. "He's not worth it, love." As the night wore on, James and I shared a quiet moment alone. "I can't believe you kept this from me," he said, shaking his head in amazement. "Are you mad?" I asked, suddenly nervous. He cupped my face in his hands. "Mad? Sarah, I'm in awe of you. You're the most incredible person I've ever met." A few days later, James and I jetted off to Bali for our honeymoon, finally able to relax after months of stress and secrecy. We spent 2 blissful weeks exploring temples, lounging on beaches, and just being together, free from drama. "I can't believe we pulled it off," I said one night, sipping a cocktail on our villa's balcony. James grinned. "You pulled it off, Dr. Thompson. I'm just along for the ride." When we returned home, reality hit fast. But in the best way possible, life quickly shifted gears. My inbox was flooded with requests for interviews and speaking engagements. My research on neural regeneration was causing quite a stir in the medical community. "Dr. Thompson, your findings could revolutionize stroke treatment," my mentor gushed during a conference call. Meanwhile, James's career was also skyrocketing. His tech company had landed a huge contract developing software for medical imaging. One evening, he burst into our apartment, practically bouncing off the walls. "Guess who just became the youngest VP in company history?" he announced. I squealed and jumped into his arms. "I'm so proud of you." As we celebrated our successes, the Andersons made their move. One Sunday afternoon, they showed up at our door, looking uncomfortable. "Sarah, James, we've made a terrible mistake," Robert began, his voice full of regret. Elizabeth chimed in. "We'd like to make amends. Perhaps we could all have dinner." "No," James said firmly, cutting them off. "You had your chance. We're done." I nodded, backing him up. "Please leave. We have nothing to say to you." As they slunk away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. We didn't need their approval anymore. Karma, it seemed, was working overtime. A month later, news broke of a major scandal at Robert's company, unethical business practices, insider trading, the works. The Andersons' carefully crafted image crumbled overnight. "Did you hear?" Emma called to tell us. "Mom's been blacklisted from every charity board in the city. They're social pariahs now." I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction. "How are you holding up?" I asked her. "Honestly, I'm relieved," Emma admitted. "I'm done pretending to be someone I'm not just to please them. I've moved out, and I was hoping we could get together soon." Our little family grew stronger as Emma became a regular fixture in our lives. We had game nights, weekend brunches, and she even started dating one of James's colleagues, a far cry from the stuffy suitors her parents used to push on her. As for Michael, his comeuppance came in its own time. He lost his job after being accused of sexually harassing an intern. His betrayal of James had just been the tip of the iceberg when it came to his character flaws. A year after our wedding, James and I found ourselves at a charity gala, not as guests, but as honorees. The ballroom was packed with the city's elite, all there to celebrate our contributions to medicine and technology. As we stood on stage accepting the award, I caught James's eye. In that moment, I saw all our struggles, triumphs, and love reflected back at me. We have faced prejudice, betrayal, and countless obstacles. But standing there in James's arms, celebrated for our achievements and surrounded by true friends, I knew we'd won, not just against the Andersons or the naysayers, but against the notion that wealth and status define a person's worth. The story of Sarah and James Thompson Anderson has come to an end. Now, I have a question for you. If you were in Sarah's position, would you have revealed your true accomplishments at the wedding reception, or would you have kept your success a secret to avoid appearing vindictive? Consider the potential consequences of each choice. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could spark an interesting discussion about pride, revenge, and the value of proving others wrong. If you enjoyed this story of triumph over prejudice and adversity, don't forget to hit that like button. And for more compelling stories that challenge societal expectations, subscribe to our channel.